everyone. So we just hit about 1,100 miles, so we're about 100 miles away from the break-in period. So I thought, now that I kind of been driving it for, quite some time, I thought I'll do a quick owner's review. So first off, we'll start with the walk around of the car. So as you guys can see, actually, let's go to the sticker right here. So this is a sticker price on the car. So obviously 2023 starting at $62, 2024 start at $1,000 more than that. Black sapphire metallic $650, the lighting package $650. For some reason, usually when you get the lighting package, it comes with the Shadowline package, but this car didn't have that. We'll go over that in a bit. This has the 19-inch and 20-inch wheels. So it's kind of interesting. The fronts are 19s and the rears are 20s. And this is the first time, this chassis or an M2 has 20s. And honestly, the 20s look good. I honestly wish if they were able to fit the 20s in the front, it would look super gangster. The next thing is heated steering wheel. This is a good option. It has M seat belts, carbon fiber trim. So we'll go over that. So that's like the interior, $800. Honestly, so worth it. Parking assistant, $200. Honestly, this is like one of those features that I kind of I didn't really need, I guess. In a manual car, parking assistant, you still have to do all the footwork, which is the hardest part. Wireless device charging. So wireless device charging, honestly, it's kind of sucks. Even in my old car, I mentioned how you kind of have to put it away. It's in the center glove box. And it doesn't work with, just your regular iPhone. You have to have something with the case. And then when you put the case, what happens is it end up getting overheated. The live cockpit package, 100% I'd recommend this. It has the heads-up display and everything. I don't know why they charge me for the M Performance floor mats. The M Performance floor mats, honestly, just look like the regular floor mats. So as you guys can see, I put those in the back now. So they just have this M Performance logo here. If you guys remember the F series M Performance mat, it had that kind of gray with the little pattern. I thought I was gonna get something like that, but on the G series they don't have that. But yeah, as you guys can see, originally my order was of the Zandvoort Blue, and everything else was pretty much the same. I didn't have the wireless car charger or the parking assistant. But unfortunately, that car, was a year away, and I was being forced to change to 2024, which I didn't want to. I wanted to get it now, so I can enjoy it, and, see how it is. But, I had to get this car from another dealer in St. Louis, which is about 2 hours away from where I live. And they had it in black, and honestly, I've always wanted to own a black M car. It just looks so cool, so mafia-esque. And honestly, with this car, it looks nice. The only thing is I do feel like it kind of hides the body lines. And in pictures, this car does not look as good as it does in person. In person, this car is totally different. It's so worth it. The black, it looks so gangster. Yeah, honestly, I originally, when I moved to the US, I wanted to get a G42 M240i. That car honestly was good because if you think about it, it's pretty much the same wheelbase and it has the M hood and everything. These fenders, of course, are very different. And if you kind of park these side by side, this looks totally different. That looks like a regular, 2 Series sports car. This, it gets a lot of looks. Even, when I go to the gas station and stuff like that, people are always like, man, what car is this? Obviously, they know it's a BMW, but just the length and the looks and, how you spec it, it looks really, really nice. So yeah, the Shadowline package, as I mentioned, you'll get those blacked out headlights, which honestly look kind of cool. It'll be blacked out here. And then you'll get the black exhaust tips. But honestly, with the black, the silver kind of, really accents it. And what's kind of weird is even on the Shadowline package, you see the exhaust, the muffler is back there. So it kind of looks out of place. So I feel it matches and it looks very nice. The interior, obviously we had to get the manual transmission. And then I think my original order actually wasn't these seats. I had the Cognac seats. But honestly, with the black theme, I think it looks kind of good black inside and out. And after seeing this at one of the auto shows, I kind of wanted to switch it to this because the Cognac definitely does brightens it up, and it's like the only colored option in the M2. But this just kind of goes with the theme, and you know, this is kind of like a sporty coupe. So yeah. And yeah, as you guys can see, is a carbon fiber trim. It looks super nice. What kind of sucks is, I guess, on the automatic, you get like carbon fiber paddle shifters as well too. I feel like they could have done something unique for the manual. So obviously for the manual, there's nothing. You actually, in fact, lose one kind of cool feature, which is the gloss material. And you get this kind of cheaper plastic looking. Obviously the gloss will have fingerprints, but you know, these will have scratches as well. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But other than that, yeah, like I kept the M Performance mats in the back, and then I kept these all-weather mats, which are the same as a G42. So if you guys are looking to get that, you know, just be on the lookout for that. I guess one really cool thing is, if you guys know about, there's something called like the BMW tire lottery. So every BMW usually will have, even for the same wheel set, you can see here, like obviously these are Summers, but it just says on the sticker, it just says 19-inch, 20-inch M light alloy. And then obviously sometimes it'll say if it's all season or summer. So M2s only come in Summers, but they have 2 different tire options. So I got super lucky. This was one of the things that I, obviously since I was picking up a car off the lot, I wanted to make sure that it had this. And it's the Michelin PS4Ss. So the other option is the Pirellis. So obviously this is like the best tire probably in the world right now for performance driving. And honestly, you know, I've been driving in the rain, and it's not too bad as like the PSS. Those were like trash in the rain. The Pirellis just, they don't look good in my opinion, and they don't perform good, and they're also like expensive as well. So these are expensive, but at least you're getting, you know, the performance for it. But other than that, yeah, the fenders in this car, man, they look so good. I used to think that the lights, the G42 were not that good looking, but you can see like on the regular G42, this is kind of where the body line ends, and now it kind of protrudes, and now it adds like so much, I guess, you know, thickness to the back end, and it looks very nice. It looks very, very, very aggressive. The only thing I kind of wish they did was on the G42s, they have kind of like a trim piece that goes here for if you get like the bigger wheel option. Obviously, this is the only wheel option. You can get the silver or the black. The silver obviously definitely adds a lot of pop to it. The black makes it, you know, hides a lot of these characteristic lines. And definitely, yeah, these are one of the hardest wheels to clean. As you can see, I just finished up doing like a 4-hour detail. I just did like a stage 1 polish and a ceramic coating. And these things are really, really hard to clean. I definitely recommend getting your car and everything ceramic coated right away. And yeah, so next thing is the screen on the interior. So I love BMW iDrive systems, except for this one. I don't know what they did. It really sucks, if I'm being honest. So let's go in here and take a look. So as you can see, I actually just finished a software upgrade, which is kind of cool. It's just minor stuff. They're not all the major stuff. They still require you to go inside the dealer. So the reason why I don't like this infotainment is, before there used to be like, you know, like this home setup, whatever, is the same as before, as the iDrive 7 or 6. What I hate is the settings feature. So there's like so many different settings. So if I go to even vehicle apps, you can see there's system settings, driving settings, display, live vehicle. Before, everything used to be in like, this all used to be like one settings page, which is ideal, which is how you want it to be. I guess my struggle is like, you know, like when you have Apple CarPlay on, like it has the Apple CarPlay specific apps, and then it shows both in here. And if I want to find something, it's very hard. So obviously, typically in BMW, you know, you have that sport display where it kind of shows like your horsepower and torque. So you can definitely see that here. Where is it? Yeah, you can see that here. But I usually like seeing it here. So the only way to see that, this is actually a good trick is you gotta go to M mode, change it to sport. I guess you can't change it now, but yeah, if you go to sport and then you go to live vehicle, you can see it. The other thing, obviously, it only has like 2 different modes here. So there'll be this mode and then the sport mode, which will be in the center. And that's honestly another weird thing. So usually in like M cars, you have your M1, M2, and then you kind of have like some type of like sport mode. So here, like there's setup and then M mode and then exhaust, which honestly, I feel like this could have been combined together. You could have just had your drive modes here and then like obviously your exhaust mode. So it's just very cluttered. A lot of people do hate on the climate thing, but honestly, it's not that bad. It's just one click away and it's super responsive and you can see everything. The heads-up display is like really amazing. I really wish that Apple CarPlay will soon have support for it. I'm hoping iDrive 9 has that. Because right now, the only way if you want to see navigation and stuff, you got to go to the BMW map, which is honestly not bad. It's just that, like, you know, it's definitely nice to, you know, have ways so, you know, you can see all the constructions and other road hazards on the way. But other than that, I did get the sunroof. So obviously carbon roof is probably like the way to get this car. But I personally, I was kind of set on the sunroof because I like having that coupe with, you know, keeping, you know, the roof up or whatever. It definitely adds to that coupe feel. It's so far it's been pretty good. And yeah, I don't know. The other thing is, I don't know why the front has this much of a gap here. I think it's because in Germany or in UK or whatever in Europe, there's a requirement to keep snow chains. And then for the front, it's usually a larger clearance. So that's why the front is like lifted truck status. And then the back is obviously, back honestly, the height is good. I definitely want to put some spacers. As you can see here, it's very tucked in. So I think I'll do the same as my last car, which is I had like 15 mils front and rear. So we'll definitely look at that. Let's look at the engine bay. So engine bay, classic BMW. You pull it twice. Once to open, second to unlock. And let's take a look here. So obviously we got the S58, which is the same motor as the M3. Obviously these are detuned from the M3 on paper. And I think on paper it makes 460, but a lot of people that are dynoing it are getting above 455 wheel, which is just nuts. I guess one clear difference from like the F generation, the G series, is before, like, it had so much, like, it had like a really cool carbon piece. And honestly, that just adds like so much, you know, curb appeal to this engine bay. Now it just kind of looks like a basic engine bay. Intakes are huge. I've never seen, you know, M cars with this big of intakes other than like an M5 or X5M. But other than that, that's pretty much all you can see here. Yeah, you can see, obviously this is made in Mexico. I was kind of very subjective about that, but honestly, looking at all the fit and finish, I don't really see any issues. The other thing that BMWs I always really see is like their pre-cure sealer and all their like sealers here. All that stuff looks very good. Yeah, fit and finish, kudos to the Mexico BMW team. It looks very, very nice. Next thing is vehicle generation. So obviously there's a G42, which is the same chassis as this. That's for the regular 230i and M240i. And then you have the G87. So obviously, yeah, so obviously like one cool thing on the M240i is that it has that M hood, which, and the M mirrors, which usually like only specific to the M car. But other than that, like, yeah, the fenders, side skirts. M240i obviously has like the all-wheel drive. So I do really hope that in the future, maybe like a competition or a CS model, they add the all-wheel drive system, because I feel like that'd be really cool. And then obviously in the trend, so obviously this will, I think BMW did announce it, that this is the last manual transmission BMW that they'll be making, which is honestly a cool statement. I'm hoping that I can, you know, keep this as a collectible car. Obviously in this the trend of these cars, like these sports cars, is yeah, like everyone's kind of going to the 6-cylinder turbo. Obviously, Mercedes is going to the 4-cylinder. Boo, you know, that kind of sucks. But you know, it does have like drift mode. Everything is very like digital in this car compared to like, you know, one of the older M cars. A lot of people do get the automatic, and I definitely do understand why, because you can have a lot more fun with this car. In the manual, it is fun. It's just that it's a different type of fun. Like you can't really like drift unless you're like a pro driver. This, like, for the first time I turned DSC off and I like punched it, and man, this thing is scary. I don't know if it's because it's cold, but yeah, you definitely need some, I definitely need to get some more seat time. So obviously options, I kind of went over the options that I got in this car. And like I said, the parking assistant, it's good that it has a backup assistant with it, but in a manual car, like the hardest thing is like, you know, doing all the footwork. So if you're doing all that work, I don't really know how much of a convenience feature it's adding. And then in the manual, of course, like you lose the ability to add the adaptive cruise control, which sucks because Volkswagen and Audi, you know, in the GTI and Golf R, like in their manuals, they have that feature. I don't know why they can't add it. It would be like a nice thing because I'm going to be doing a lot of driving in this car. The other thing, obviously, yeah, like in the manual, people always say to avoid getting the carbon buckets. They look really nice. I would only get them in the automatic because it has like the centerpiece here, and like this section is also in carbon. So every time you reach for the clutch pedal, it either hits here or here. And if you're kind of bigger in size, you know, you have bigger legs, the carbon bucket seats are like the worst option. That is definitely one of the options I would say to avoid. And then, yeah, the wireless car charger. So we can take a look at that actually. So the wireless car charger on the regular iPhones. So yeah, like from, I guess, the F series, they kind of put it like on this direction, which is not bad. The only thing is it's very hard to see if your phone is charging. Luckily, like they added like a symbol there. But yeah, like I said, because the iPhone has that camera bezel behind, like you kind of need a case to make sure it's like flush, but then it does overheat, which kind of sucks. The next thing is maintenance. So obviously these cars, unlike the F series, they go from the 4-year to now 3-year maintenance, which is pretty good. I mean, 3 or 4 year doesn't really make a difference to me. I don't think I'll be keeping it that long. But yeah, it's definitely good that it comes with all the maintenance. This being an M car, after the first 1,200 miles, you got to bring it in for a service. So they'll do an oil change, diff fluid change, and then they'll check it out and make sure everything's good. But honestly, from S58 ownership, people are saying, you know, not too many issues unless like, even when you get a tune too, it's definitely pretty good. Insurance is pretty good on this car. Obviously I live in Illinois. It's about $100 a month. It's not too bad at all. You know, for like a coupe, 500 horsepower, 2-door, and I'm under 25, so that's pretty good. In terms of the competitors, so this is like one interesting thing, right? So obviously when I get a car, I want to make sure that I'm getting the best in that class. There's really not any competitors to this, right? So obviously in the Mercedes side, kind of compared to the CLA 45, which is 4-cylinder, front-wheel drive bias, it sucks. Audi RS3 is kind of like the same thing. The only real competitor that people really compare this to is this Cayman 718. Obviously, this is a lot more heavier and more digital feeling compared to a Cayman. But I can definitely see that because this, you know, I guess by going to the M3 chassis, like it got a lot more bigger and it got like a lot more luxurious. So you can definitely see that, you know, they're trying to get that type of, you know, target customer where people are willing to pay more money. And you can guess, I guess you can see that like when they went from the M2 to M2 CS and all the comp, and those were really good successes. In terms of finance, so I did finance this through BMW Financial. They offered really good rates, I would say. Everywhere else it was like 7% and I got like 5.99. And obviously the advantage is if you're getting another BMW and you're within the family or you have like another BMW, you can get like a 1% or 2% loyalty depending on the time. In terms of mods, so yeah, like I'll go over like the stuff I've done. So I've basically done like PPF on this section because this is kind of like a prone area to rock chips, and also getting in and out. I did some PPF work here. One really weird thing that BMW did is they kept us open here. So I know radiator grill, If you guys want to sponsor me, hit me up. But yeah, like they did add this like mesh piece here that you can just like kind of zip tie. I know they have like another company, Italian company, they came out with a different version where you can actually clip it and keep it on one of the parts. So this is definitely like one of the important things. The other thing is mud flaps. So I know Tommy L Garage, they made one. The only thing is I gotta see is like, cause these are like rivets. So if you replace it with like another screw, I don't know, you know, if it's gonna rust or whatever, because this is that type of area. Then obviously the fender is not plastic, right? So you definitely want to make sure it's not going to rust out. So I'm going to do some more research unless you guys have some better ideas. The other weird thing is, so on the G series cars, the exhaust, even though now it has an exhaust button, kind of like the AMGs, it doesn't really mean anything. So a lot of people from the G80 M3, what they're doing is they're getting